Hey, good afternoon. It's Thursday. We've been at this crazy town for about a week now. It was about a week ago, right now, that we found out no one's going back to school and no one's going on spring break. And yeah, isn't it crazy that how much everything has changed in just about a week? So I thought I would pivot a little bit today and come on and talk about something I've actually been talking about for even longer than I've been talking about my healthy eating and non-toxic living stuff. I have been talking to people about how to get the homeschool things done for probably almost 15 years. So, since everyone is now a homeschooler, I used to say, homeschooling is not for everyone, but everyone should consider it. Well, everyone's now been forced to consider it. So anyway, normally I would say, I'm here to tell you how to make better food choices. But today I'm going to talk about how to help your daily sanity go with getting the schoolwork done. My name is Lainey Stump. I've been married for 27 years and have been blessed with 10 children. They range in age from 3 to 24. And we made the decision to start homeschooling our oldest when she was just 2 years old. So, therefore, we've been doing this for a while. 22 years of homeschooling. So, usually when I jump into these talks, one of the most important things to think about is expectations. The expectation of what you want the day to be, and that is different than your goals. Your goal is everyone gets their schoolwork done, no one fusses or fights, no one complains, no one has a problem with it. You have a nutritious meal on the table whenever anyone is hungry, and birds are singing on your shoulder just like Snow White. That's your expectation, maybe, or that's your goal. But your expectation is that's not the way it's going to be. So there's a difference between goals and expectations. You work toward a goal, but you have expectations that keep things realistic in the day-to-day as you go along. When I have time, I love to spend some time in the morning, among other things, writing some gratitude and everything. I like to do some visualizations, and my visualizations about my day are not necessarily how I expect the day to go as far as the children's behavior. I do visualizations about how I'm going to handle their behavior. So I find it helps. If I can just take some time before the day even starts and picture myself handling what they dish out all day long, it makes it a lot easier. So, mom generally determines the attitude of the family, and that kind of hurts, but it's kind of true. If mom's got a crummy attitude, chances are everyone is going to feed off that attitude. So we, as moms, have a higher responsibility to keep things positive. If you can't be pleasant, and while correcting children, while schooling children, the more important thing is to try and be pleasant. And we can choose to act like that even if we don't feel like it. We want our children to learn that. We want our children to learn to act better than their emotions actually feel. And we need to be modeling that from the beginning. We want our children to look back on this. Our children are going to remember this time for sure. We want them to look back on this and remember us as smilers and remember us as the people that kept things going, that we were the rock, right? Visual joy is the only joy children understand. So you might not necessarily be down and stressed, but if you're not expressing joy in your face, in your voice, and how you're interacting with those kids, they will think that you're down and stressed. Visual joy is the only joy that children understand. And a cheerful mama overcomes a whole lot. So, hi Mom, hi Christy. So we want to be the person that we want them to become. We want them to see what we are doing. We want our behavior to be so great that they're actually trying to emulate that. Do you get the visual joy, Christy? We need to, they need to see our joy, not just be like, the joy of the Lord. I've got the joy of the Lord. Yeah. No one's going to believe that, right? We want them to see it. We want our home to be a fun place, but that doesn't mean it has to be like Pinterest fun, okay? It doesn't mean that if you are not scheduling enriching activities for your children every minute of the day, you're a bad mom, okay? Do not put that kind of stress on your life. No one needs that, okay? They just want the overall feeling of the home to be kind of fun. And that's especially important as our kids get older and they're naturally kind of drawing away from us anyway. One thing to always remember is you can't nag your children into a good attitude. You can't nag your spouse into a good attitude. No one is going to crawl out from underneath your condemnation and be a better person. And I know I struggle with this. I get frustrated when they're not doing just what they're supposed to do. And I want them to know I'm upset that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, but that's not going to inspire them to do better. We also kind of say that you don't work, you don't eat. We feed our children, don't call DCS. We feed our children, but they have to help out around the house. They have to do their schoolwork. That is their job. Their job as children until they are like productive earning members of society is to do school and do the jobs around the house. And, they need to do that. That's how they pay their rent. I tend to be a no person. Mom, can I do this? No, because it usually complicates my life. I'll be honest. But we want to say yes more. And so what I have learned is it's important to get to the yes. So if I don't want to say yes because, there's still the laundry and this and that needs to be done, I try and tell them this is how we can get to the yes. Okay. And so that way they understand that their privileges come with a cost to someone. So we like to have one-on-one training time where we actually teach them to do things. If you've never taught your child to make the bed, don't expect them to know how to make the bed. Okay, so have one-on-one training times. We will do turbo rounds where we give them a job and they say, yes, ma'am, and they run off, do their job, and they get an M&M for saying yes, ma'am, and then they get an M&M when they've completed the job. And that way we can get the house cleaned pretty quick. So, yeah, the health coach part of me isn't real fond of the M&Ms, but hey, they're kids. Okay, so more into the home management. That's the background. Now into the home management. Okay, planning. Streamline your meal prep. Think about breakfast. What are you having for breakfast before you go to bed? Think about lunch at breakfast. Think about dinner before lunch. Okay? If that is overwhelming to you, think about it once on Sunday, write it down, and that schedule is now what you're having. Okay? You should not be standing there 10 minutes before you're supposed to put food on the table wondering what food goes on the table. Okay? We used to have Muffin Monday, like rice on Tuesday, granola on Wednesday. We used to have specific days of the week. That worked out really well for us. Things got mixed up and different, and now I have children that can feed themselves. But before they could feed themselves, I didn't want to have to wake up and think about what was I going to feed them for breakfast. So we had specific days of the week. Same thing for lunch. And a lot of times we'd like to have leftovers for lunch. And if not, maybe it's something super easy. Like, either we have leftovers or peanut butter and jelly. 2 choices. That's it. And embrace your crock pot. Embrace your pressure cooker. They're your best friends. When it comes to, let's see, I'm not going to talk about that right now. We'll get into decluttering and all that cleaning some other time. Moving on. Okay, school. I recommend that you come down with a schedule. Now, it doesn't have to be like planned to the every 15 minutes. That's totally cool. But just a general gist of what needs to be happening every hour or so throughout the day. And then you write it out and you post it. And the reason why you want to post it is because then you can point to the schedule and say, schedule says it's time for math. And now it's not you that's saying it, it's the schedule. We can blame the schedule, right? That being said, be flexible. Some people like and what comes next schedule. Rather than affixing particular hours to the hours that you're doing things, do an order of how things go. All right? And once you're rolling this out and implementing it, look for those pain points. Look for the stress points where all of a sudden, like, this is a stressful point of the day. That means your schedule needs tweaking. If that is a consistent point where, like, I'm supposed to be helping, Betsy Sue with math, but I'm also supposed to be fixing lunch. Okay, something needs to move. Either lunch goes later or Betsy Sue's math goes earlier. It should flow. It shouldn't be stress on you, right? I prefer to school from my youngest child to my oldest child because the younger the child, the better they are earlier in the day. So I always started with the preschooler and then just worked my way up the chain. I've been homeschooling, like I said, for 22 years. I have always had an infant, a toddler, or a preschooler around my feet while I'm homeschooling. So I have learned how to get things done with little ones. I like to schedule sibling time where an older child takes a younger child and has one-on-one time with them. They can have a lot of fun. And, anyone, 8 years or 7 years or older can watch a preschooler or a toddler. And so we would have, sometimes that sibling would play teacher and teach them things. They could teach them the ABCs, teach them colors, teach them shapes, fun things like that. And meanwhile, that frees me up to spend focused time with an older child that needs it. From very early on, we would have room time. It would start out as crib time with the toddlers, where there were certain toys. Okay, so let me just say this. Pack up a good chunk of your toys. Pack them up, put them in Ziploc baggies, put them up in a cupboard, and make them special again. If you have so many toys that are everywhere with little ones, they're like overloaded and they don't see any of it and they're not going to play with any of it anyway, and they're going to cry because they're bored, okay, even though they're surrounded by toys. So pack them up. I've been known to pack up stuff and then forget them for years, but that's just me. Okay, so we would have certain toys that would only come out during room time, and they would go in their room, or if they were a toddler, they'd go in their bed and they would get a particular toy. Obviously age appropriate. Don't be giving the toddler marbles in their crib, but a particular thing that only came out during that time. And I'd have a bin that they could choose from. It wasn't always the same thing. And we would start small, start with a timer, start with 5 minutes, and then we'd work our way up till the point that they're spending 45 minutes alone in their room, little ones, so that way you could get other stuff done. Then we would have table time where one of my older children would watch everyone that was under 5 years old at a particular table. In fact, I just literally pulled this off the inside of my cupboard. There's the tape. It was on the inside of one of the cupboards where I keep crafts. So what did we do at table times? We have Play-Doh, we have tangrams, we would have gravel in a little Rubbermaid tote that they would dig in like sand. That makes a mess, but it's fun. Watercolor paints, stickers, coloring books, do-a-dots. If you don't know do-a-dots and you have a preschooler, go on Amazon and get some do-a-dots. Those kids love that stuff. Dry erase boards. They'd play water in the sink. We would even have an older child, 9-ish maybe and up, watch the little ones. They put on their swimsuits and we'd fill up the bathtub with, yay much water, and they'd play in the bathtub. And my kids thought it was fun because since they're wearing their swimsuits, it's like pool time, not bath time. So, those type of activities that free the mom up to go work with the other kids or to get lunch on the table or whatever you need to do. So, also, we would have TV time. You know, my attitude has always been if Cinderella can be nicer to my kids than me, she needs to watch them sometimes, right? So, I would usually schedule that for once the early elementary school kids would have their work done so they could watch too, because that's super distracting if the little ones are watching TV. But yeah, let them have 30, 60 minutes of TV time. Our time is right before lunch. And that way, if lunch is running a little late, they don't care because they're watching TV. So the big thing about this is you do you. I mean, now my Facebook feed is, I have 10 children, Angie, 10, from 3 to 24 years old. So my Facebook feed is filled now with all these ideas, you know, click here for resources and this and that and the other thing. Okay, that is super overwhelming. It's overwhelming for me, and I'm comfortable with what we're doing. And by the way, I'm e-learning too, because I have 2 that go to public school. So I've got the e-learning thing and the homeschool thing. So I feel all y'all's, because that e-learning thing has been a learning curve for sure. So don't feel like you need to click on everything. There's a ton of amazing resources out there. If you want some, message me. I will tell you what we use and what we've liked, what we haven't liked, and not everything works for every kid. But don't feel like you have to provide something for them to do for every hour of the day, because you'll make yourself crazy. So, you know, just start doing what's comfortable for you. You know, obviously, if you're e-learning, you have to do what the teacher has assigned. But if you're wanting to add special enrichment things, or, you know, the teacher has just basically said, go off and do something. If it's something you're not enjoying, okay, Angie, you do not put the word only in front of any number of children, because all the children, if you've got children, it's a thing. So, and I am not a saint. My mom's watching. She might say I'm a saint, but I'm not a saint. So anyway, so just don't overwhelm yourself. Take it slow, take it easy. I read somewhere, this is just an internet statistic, so, you know, who knows, but it makes you think that as we're easing into this newness, that you should allow the number of months to get used to homeschooling that your kids were in school. Okay, so if they've been going to school for 8 years, it's going to be 8 months before you hit your stride. And unless you choose to homeschool, hopefully we are not still doing this 8 months from now. I don't know. We'll see, right? So anyway, those are my thoughts. Please let me know if you have any questions, because after 22 years, I've seen a thing or two. And share this video, because we are so all in this boat together, right? I love you all. Have a great afternoon. Take care. Bye.